Anna, actually, you mentioned about, and it was very interesting, right? Both of you, you did Bharata Natyam, but you also learned Kathakali. So, how did one art form influence the other? Were you able to sense that learning Kathakali and Bharatanatyam?
Where because Rukmini Devi liked Kathakali so much. The training system, she has adapted a lot of things from Kathakali to Bharatanatyam.
And the drama.
And the
And the
drama
drama.
and
The theatrical
yes.
quality.
Ashan was so helpful for her to choreograph the characters. Ashan had the knack and also the versatility of bringing right kind of character into the so mold us into that kind of character. Characterization. Kathakali is specialized for. In Bharatanatyam, it was not there. So we recognize that immense talent into Ashan Sadhupadikar and imbibed a lot from that. So we were able to do simultaneously, but incorporating a lot of Kathakali technique into Bharatanatyam,
to do
which was
several
good.
characters, different characters.
See, those days also, when Devi was criticized also, the other people, other Natvanas and critics, those days, the fastidious critics, they used to criticize, oh, she's mixing Kathakali with Bharatanatyam. That was, and also ballet with Bharatanatyam. Those kind. She never cared. She said, Natyam is one. Both whether Bharatanatyam or Kathakali, the technique has to be one because we follow Natya Shastra. Everybody follows Natya Shastra. These are Natya Shastra is explicitly followed in Kathakali, but unfortunately in the Devadasi system they didn't follow it properly. So she brought in all this back to the fold. So we were asked to do that. So since we did simultaneously, we didn't have any difficulty of keeping the identity.
Right. I think it's a very important thing because keeping that separate and this separate is a very different way of approaching the art. But trying to find out the similarities.
When you have a profound technique,
see, it's so long as it helps one another. I think that is the way we have to think in terms of not just for the sake of doing something, just take something and put it here. It doesn't mesh well. No, it has to help. It has to be part of the nature of that art form. Yes, the pulse has to be there. Then it is great. So long as you can do that, I think which she did greatly.
Today, now everybody, all Bharatanatyam greats are imbibing a lot from Kathakali. Because Kathakali has a lot to offer to our art world. Kathakali, Kudiyattam and all, because it's also Sanskritam based and Natya Shastra based. So those who have criticized, they have now they have nothing to criticize. Everybody is adapting things from different art world and incorporating it judiciously, which is good to enhance the art form. That's what we did. She paved the way for it. Others later on, when we came on our own, we showed the world that it can be complementary to each other. And when I started doing my Bharatanatyam solo performances, the duo performances, I also faced a lot of criticism, saying I am mixing Kathakali. But today's world, nobody will say anything because everybody is following me. I am a trendsetter at that time. Because those days there are not many men dancers performing. I was one of those first to do solo Bharatanatyam performances. Yeah, I'm a role model for many of our today's Bharatanatyam male dancers.
Male dancers. And also, Anna, I think your training in Kathakali would have helped you greatly.
Absolutely. Though I faced a criticism, I didn't mind, but people accepted it. Only after seeing my Bharatanatyam, people accepted boys Bharatanatyam. At that time, there was criticism because whenever we say, oh, it's effeminate, there was a effeminate mode of performance. Those days, all the men were. Now today, you see, all the men dancers are following a good male stance, and they are good male dancers. A lot of them, of course, trained in Kalakshetra. Kalakshetra was very fastidious about man dancers dancing like man, not to mix the.
That's important.
The outside at that time, there were Natonas and other people, and they taught male dancers. They had a lot of effeminacy. That's the public did not accept them as good dancers. That's why they didn't look at male dancers at that time. When I started performing solo performances, along with some Shanta, people accepted, oh, Dhananjayan's program, Dhananjayan is male oriented. That's why I came into the field. That's how I established as a Bharata Natyam dancer.
Beautiful, beautiful.
It helped me a lot.
Right. And other aspect, Anaka, is also in, if you look at the music of Kathakali, is very different. Like it takes very authentic ragams of Kerala. A lot of the ragams and the way they sing it is all very different than what you would do with a typical classical song. So has there been some kind of adaptation? Like have you taken some of the musical part also?
Musical part, some of the items also. I incorporated some of the terms and things from Kathakali. For instance, there is Todayam in Kathakali, which is a completely give the complete technique of Kathakali. The Tala variations, the physical exercise variations, and deity variations, all that is incorporated in Todayam. If one practices Todayam, then all the ingredients that you want to exhibit in the other storytelling, it is in there. I modeled an item at that time when we established Bharata Kalanjali. A same kind of item was composed as Natyanjali. The word Natyanjali itself is coined by me in 1968 when we started Bharata Kalanjali. And Natyanjali consisted of all Panchanadai, Pancharagam, Panchadevam, and all Pancha. The technique of Tala variations. All that are incorporated. Once one person and mudras, basic mudras also introduced. So if one learns Natyanjali, everything was in there, and then the child can understand what the Bharatanatyam performance contains. It's a compilation. It's a comprehensive idea of the Bharatanatyam technique. So I took like that.
Right.
So,
right.
And also, most of our students do Kanna Sadhakam, the eye exercises and all. But also some of the intensive exercises, the Meyyaruppu. Meyyaruppu is physical exercise, which was not found in Bharatanatyam.
Almost like Kalari.
Kalari Paisa. So especially boys, but to get that vigorous movement and also get the masculinity, I taught them the Kalari, the Meyyaruppu, we call it in Kathakali. So that was also an advantage because most of our male dancers has that the virility of the male body. So man, just like so. Kathakali has helped me a lot, and Kathakali Sahityam is very profound.
Yes.
The Sahityam, literature. Yes. My interest in literature is because of Kathakali, and also, as you rightly mentioned, Kathakali music has a lot of bhava-oriented ragas.
Yes.
So that has helped me to incorporate in Bharatanatyam some of the correct ragas for correct delineation for correct characters. So Kathakali was a very complimentary affair for as far as our technique is Dhananjayan, that is Bharata Kalanjali technique is concerned. And of course, we did change we evolved a lot of new items. Unlike Kalakshetra, when we came out of Kalakshetra, we introduced a lot of innovative things. For instance, my first Athana Varnam, which we called Nrityopahara. The term itself is changed. And there, I introduced swaras for certain episodes from storytelling, which was not there at that time, and people criticized. But later, everybody started adopting it. So
but how can you do abhinaya for swara?
Yeah.
Then I said it is nritya. That is through nritya. That is communication through nritya, body language.
Right.
Rhythmic movement, for instance, pandatam, which has no sentiments. For some of them, there is no sentiment, only movement. For that, you can use swaras.
Beautiful.
Nritya. Actually, correct Nritya. Then I explained to people like Subbudu who criticized me for that. Later on, he accepted it. He said, you are right. So now everybody is following it. In Kalakshetra, of course, they didn't emphasize on that. But like that, we branches Bharatanatyam into so many other things, showing environmental themes, political themes, other religious themes. We started doing Christian themes and Buddhist themes. These are all, that is, we are trendsetters for that.
Trendsetters for this, right.
People used to those days come criticize, or they should comment, how can Bharatanatyam be used to do Christian story in Bharatanatyam? It is not right. All that people, the very the staunch critics, they used to criticize. But when we started doing that, initially people was very little apprehensive about the thing, and but that a revolution that I am creating. But later on, everybody accepted it. So we have been trendsetters after we came.
Absolutely.
Doing jungle book with ballet dancers.
Yeah. That's an amazing feat, actually.
Yes.
Yeah.
Also,
completely different context.
Drug abuse, story of drug abuse with Pandit Ravi Shankar's music. We were working with him. It's a great experience for us. And it was all Bharatanatyam and Kathakali technically used. Yes, we used.
With Kathak.
Yeah. All that combined results was not there earlier. And in fact, I want to tell you, bring all the basic Natya styles into one program. We were the first of the kind. We did it in Doordarshan, Kathak, Odissi, Kathakali, Bharatanatyam, Kuchipudi. We brought all these artists together to form a program together and showing the technique simultaneously on the stage. We did it many times, and also that is the first time, I will very vehemently say, first time Doordarshan program. Afterwards, so many people experimented, but we were the first to introduce such kind of amalgamation, such kind of coming together of all the styles. We were the trendsetters for that. Then later on, many people, they have imbibed that, they have taken the inspiration, they have started doing it. So I should very boldly say we are the first.
Absolutely. You should take the credit for it. Yes,
I'm proud
definitely. Definitely, you should do. True.
When we have done something very unique at that time.
Correct. No, absolutely, Anna, because it needs for somebody who can think beyond the time to take that step. Then you'll have other people following it. At that point of time, it will seem to be a revolution. It will seem to be something very sacrilegious.
Now,
but over a period of time, it will become the norm.
Now nothing is new. It's a different world altogether.
And working, see, when we did first Jungle Book in London, with Academy of Indian Arts, that was the first time a break. It's a big revelation in the European countries where with Bharatanatyam, with that is Bharatiya Natyam, we were able to do a big production, group production.
Wow.
That is a big revelation. Until then, people in Europe thought Bharatanatyam is only a solo dance and it's also female-oriented dance. That is how our people have been popularizing it. Even big artists, they always said Bharatanatyam is a solo dance, it's a dasi atom, and the man has no right to do that and all that. That was the very basic notion they had. But we broke that idea and produced this in London and traveled across the Europe, that is especially in England, performed many times. There we brought all the Bharatiya Natyam, Bharata Natyam together. Kathak, Odissi, Mohiniyattam, Bharatanatyam and Kathak. We brought them together and each character did each style.
Wow.
This Kathak was by great Pandit Pratap Pawar did the Sher Khan's role in Kathak. I was doing Mowgli in both the Bharatanatyam and Kathakali style, freestyle. And there we trained the people, local people who are interested, and those local artists we selected. And it was commissioned by one of our senior students, Pushkala Gopal, who was at that time director of the Indian Academy of Dance. She's the idea behind. She brought them everybody together, and today many of them trained in that first production, has become big time dancers and producers, directors in London. Like Akram Khan, who was my found. There was a lot of Akram Khan, Kathak dancer and a modern dancer and all that. He was a little boy of 8. I chose him to do a small Mowgli's role along with my son Satyajit.
Okay.
So many such artists from London have been Shobana Jai Singh. They all became only after that they started becoming dancers. So that was a trend setting. Also bringing good name for our Bharatanatyam technique, Bharatiya Natyam technique. And later on, when we did a production with a ballet, and people were wondering how can ballet and Bharatanatyam can do together. We did it. They said Rudyard Kipling's Jungle. First we did with Bharatanatyam, then we did Bharatanatyam and ballet dances. That is a very big production. It's a Broadway production in America, Cleveland, by 3 associations combined. Tri-C, they call it Tri-C, along with the Cultural Alliance of Cleveland, CCA, whose founder was Uma Ganeshan. It was her idea. We combined with a very famous Ohio Ballet Company, where the choreographer was a German, prestigious German ballet choreographer, who will not compromise on anything except ballet. But he and we worked. People were wondering how we are going to work with such a prestigious person who is a very strict ballet master. He won't budge an inch, not even contemporary dance. Such a man, we broke the ice. We worked with him for almost 2 years, and we brought this production, Jungle Book, which became a very big hit in America. We did almost 200 shows.
Wow!
And it was compared to the big American production of the Broadway shows. It was compared to Broadway show, and mind you, that year when we did 95, 96, at that year we got an award for the best, state of Ohio State, best production of the year. It is competing with American professional or Broadway shows.
Super.
It brought a lot of name for our country, Bharata.
Absolutely.
Not our work, it is our technique, Bharatiya Nritya Shaili, Bharata Natyam. We brought credit to our country. That was our main aim. Not Dhananjayans or anybody, but we wanted to establish that we are much greater than any other Natya's dance styles in the world. Our technique is profound and there is nothing compared to that. So our Bharatiya Natyam is the greatest art and art form in the world. So that is what we wanted to establish.
And it was only apt. And actually, Anna and Akka, it was only apt that both of you should be in Kalakshetra because you are being led by such a visionary who herself was a revolutionary of her time. And you turned out to be revolutionaries of your time. So it's just, I think, it's going from generation to generation.
Well,
so I think it all fits in.
You want to say something about it? Well, we left in 1968. I had to leave. I left first, and then only after 2 years after she left. It was, though I never thought I would leave Kalakshetra. And there was occasions when Rukmini Devi used to say that, yes, I have a lineage in Dhananjayan, he might take up Kalakshetra. But it didn't happen because due to some circumstances, I had to leave in 68 and established Bharata Kalanjali. But in 1988, when Kalakshetra was being handed over to government at that time, I had the option of taking over. So I had people, the government agencies have approached me whether I could come back. But my institution was already established and big, and I was also trying to establish another institution in Kerala, which didn't, it took off, but which it wouldn't survive. I wanted to establish a Kalakshetra in Kerala, and we started it, but later, that is it. But in Kalakshetra, when I had the opportunity to accept it, I found that it may not be click because all my other colleagues are there still, and they may not like my entering after leaving
a long time,
after long absence, me going and superseding them. And I got some feedback saying those people who are my colleagues might not be accept me. So I thought it is better I don't take up. So I told the government agency it is better I stick to my own institution. And of course, whatever I have a Kalakshetra.
And what a legacy, Anna. 52 years you have been now running this institution and training so many students in this.
Definitely, it's all because of the training that we had. We can never separate the two.
Yeah.
Correct.
It's all because of that we are able to do a little bit of work. It's just only because of our upbringing there.
Right.
Thank you to the institution and to Rukmini Devi and to all our gurus and teachers.
Absolutely. Anna, Naka, I just have. Sorry, please, Anna, go ahead.
No, it also only after we came out of Kalakshetra also became very famous because we were projecting Kalakshetra the best way we could. So the people who started understanding what is Kalakshetra, what is Kalakshetra style, and what all those things. Until then, nobody was outside propagating the.
Not so
Kalakshetra was confined to the four walls of Kalakshetra, and everything took place only in that campus only. Then not many people came out and performed. We started performing globally. Then only they started knowing, oh, there is an institution like Kalakshetra. Even those days, Rukmini Devi's days, she also didn't perform much in the foreign countries, except sometimes when she went for Theosophical Society meeting and all that. Otherwise, she didn't popularize it in that way. Only
dance productions
after the productions, dance drama, when we were all there, the best of yes, best of students there taking part in the production. That has definitely gave a big name boost to Kalakshetra also, and we also wherever we went, we always gave the credit, identified ourselves with Kalakshetrians, and also gave credit to the training system that was established by Rukmini Devi and her lineage, like Shanta teacher, Rashmi teacher, and all those people. So that is definitely made Kalakshetra an internationally famous institution. So we have a part to play in that.
Right. Now, Annanaka, one last question I have. Now, we discussed so much about what you absorbed from this huge institution, how you adapted it to your style. Now, you have been training so many students. What kind of difference do you feel in the time when you learned and now when you're teaching? Also, even among teaching, you have been more than 5 decades now. What do you see the change in the scenario in the student who is grasping this science? Do you see any change in their attitude towards the art form, in the techniques you need to adapt to make them understand or teach them?
Yes. Let Shanta talk about it. I will add some.
Sure, sure.
As a student that I was, like I'm still a student, I should say. I'm learning every day something different, something
Right.
experiencing something. Anyway, for me, living in Kalakshetra and learning was a supreme experience. Nothing like that. Whereas kids who come here, they come only briefly for a 1 hour time.
Yeah.
And whatever is there for them to take, for us to teach them within that 1 hour period, we are trying our best to make them understand. I mean, this way it's all in capsule for them.
Right.
Which was not there for us. For us, the whole day was learning and we just didn't know, where to start, where to end. That was our life then. So and we had to adapt ourselves to that kind of molding kids. And I think we fairly had the experience as we started to progress. We knew how to handle the situation and give the right kind of experience for the kids to understand our art form. So it's a different world altogether. But then like now, pandemic period now, I'm so much against online online teaching. I never thought I'll ever do this, but today I'm doing it. I have to do it. What to do? I have to do it, and I'm doing it. And something is new, something you have to experience. This is how life takes you. You have to do the best you can as and when you progress. There you are.
To add.
Yes, Anna.
Today, children are very intelligent. They learn fast and forget fast.
That's true.
That is very
learn slow, but retained it.
Correct.
Retain it forever.
Right,
What we did, we can remember. But today's world, because of too many distractions in today's life, children learn fast and forget fast. And they had to resort to their the gadgets today. We never had any gadgets to remember. We had to remember the gadgets. That is the best. So there's a lot of disadvantage for the today's children to retain anything, and
disadvantage
and the disadvantage.
Advantage and disadvantage.
So now we were all today. We had nothing to distract us, so we are totally in it and totally professional. So I want to add this: we should be a profession, then only you can completely indulge in it, completely immersed in it. Today, they all want to have dual. They want to do another profession and take art as only a pastime. Very few are professionals. Only those who are inclined to be professionals, they are in the limelight and they are doing good. Okay. But what happens is, once you learn an art, these children, they always want to perform. With the result, they indulge in undercutting the professionals, which is not good, which I detest. I want people, and also I want to emphasize.
Where will you draw a line between professional and non-professional? That's the thing now.
No, people should encourage those who are professionals who live on that their profession, like doctors and engineers, and
Yes.
they can be artists, but they should not undercut or they should not compete with the professionals who are depending upon their life, the art for their livelihood. Today there is a clash between them. The sabas or the organizers, they get free stuff from the non-professionals. They are willing to perform freely or they're just to expose themselves.
Right.
So
Right.
that is undercutting. Then that chance is lost to the professional. You
True.
understand what I mean? I'm
Absolutely.
very vehement about it. Even government or other organization, they should give first preference to the professionals and pay them properly for their profession. Now, there is a big question: paid to perform or paid to perform? Now,
Beautiful.
here, there are
Yes.
people spend money to perform because they want to be on the limelight. But
Right.
that cuts the professionals who want to be paid, like
Be-
us.
Because naturally you're setting a standard. You're
Yes.
setting a norm in the
From the
society.
beginning, in the initial stage, I was very adamant that I should be treated as a professional, and people used to criticize me, saying that I am money-minded. When I asked an organization, give me my professional fees, they said you are money-minded. The art is for art's sake. These are the things those days. So I said, no, this is my profession. You are paying a fees to a doctor, you are paying an engineer, you are paying a contract. This is my profession, I have my livelihood, I have to be paid, I have to be treated on par with any other profession. So I also brought some dignity to the profession. Even today, this morning, my teacher was telling me, you brought some from the professional etiquette and you brought some dignity to the profession by asking people to pay for your profession. So that has clicked, and that is how today many, especially men who have taken it as a profession, they're able to get some livelihood. And my own students who are men students who are having good lucrative career in as a male dancer. Those days it was not like that. So definitely, professionalism is a one thing that we have always considered, and
Hmm.
people around the world, I should say, they should think of engaging professionals first and pay them well, and the other talented non-professionals can be given a chance to perform. That's all. But the pressure of professionalism should be in the field, and people should also think about it
Yes.
and treat artists on par with any other profession.
So absolutely, Anna, because especially in these times is when it actually hits the most. Because we have so many discussions in these times. If you are a professional who is depending on livelihood on an art form, the kind they suffer than a person who is already managing two professions and just doing it as a hobby. So it
Exactly.
automatically hits in this kind of situation. It's very clear.
Yes. Another thing that I always tell the artists, don't use the art to project yourself. Many of them are doing that. They're learning art, they're talented, they do very well and all that. But it is being used to project your image.
Yes.
But what we have been doing is project the art, and
Yes.
art will project you. That's the
Beautiful.
way it should be. We
Beautiful.
are the
Yes.
shadows of our profession, the art. Art is
Correct.
great. Being an artist itself is a great thing, and that kind of recognition should be given by the society as well as the government, any other organizations, for the art to survive. Art is the identity for a country.
Absolutely.
We are
I think,
known,
yeah,
we are recognized for our art and culture, not
correct.
for anything. But whenever people, government, or anybody wants something to be projected, they project through art only. But
Correct.
that kind of recognition, enough recognition is not given to art. The government, whenever a VIPs come, they they bring an art, and they don't take them to the cricket field or cinema or theatre. They want music, sangeetam, or our art forms.
Correct.
Isn't it? So art has that dignity and that greatness is there. They want to show our art. So whenever, even recently, when Modi and the Chinese Prime Minister came, the big Kalakshetra production was projected. They didn't project a cricket match or a cinema. They didn't take them to. So they know art is, the country is recognized by its art form and artist. So that kind of recognition should be provided to the artists in this world. This is our country.
And another beautiful thing, Anna, you said that art is bigger. I think it automatically drives home the point of humility and modesty automatically in the artist. The moment the art becomes bigger.
You may find I'm not humiliated. I am very humble, but I don't outspoken.
No, it doesn't matter.
I don't have humility. I am proud of being a Bharatiya. I always say our country is Bharatam. We are Bharatiya. We are doing Bharata Natyam.
Absolutely. No, Anna, I would definitely not treat being outspoken as any form of immodesty, because this is a time when we have to speak out. Because otherwise, others are not recognizing anyway. So it's time that we speak. So, and if we have, we should speak. We are speaking whatever we have only. We're not speaking untruth anyway.
I am outspoken. I speak the truth.
We love that.
I want my country Bharatam, not India. I always saying India is a foreign name. We have to be Bharatiya, Bharatam and Bharatiya. This is my
absolutely
strong views, and I hope very quickly the name will be reinstated again.
I'm sure with all the states changing their names, I hope the country also changes the name.
Yes. So programs like this, people should know. We should call ourselves Bharatam and Bharatiya.
Absolutely, Anna. I think it has been, I don't know how to express it, a fantastic discussion with both of you. You literally took all of us to the days of Kalakshetra, because most of our generation definitely has not been in those times. So we don't even know how this time would have been. But literally through you, we were able to see that. And I think the kind of legacy that you are leaving behind, from whatever you have done right from your days in Kalakshetra, and you're continuing to do that, it's defining all aspects of you, the kind of personalities you are and the kind of acharyas you are. So all those things are clearly reflected in that. I'm extremely happy and fortunate, and I'm sure all the Rasikas will be greatly happy to be having listened to you for so long. Thanks a lot for this conversation, Anna and Akka. Thank you so much.
Thank you for this wonderful opportunity to share our life journey.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Namaskar.
Namaskaram.
So Rasikas, as you saw, what a great couple, what a great artist. People like these are rare, who can see this entire spectrum of things and put their mind and give the right kind of direction to the next generation. We are fortunate to have such kind of great artists amidst us. I'm sure all of you would have loved this conversation. Many more such discussions and conversations to come in future in the Sambhashanam series. Keep watching. Till then, namaskara.